Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Hey, we got one. This is a beer that Nate sent me. The beer mail package I just got. This is Kurt's Mile High Malt, a Vienna lager brewed with Novo coffee. Wynkoop Brewing does this, or Wynkoop, however you want to pronounce that. Even smaller batch series. And from what I've read, this is a 5.8%er, by the way. And from what I've read, based on a family recipe given to us by Kurt Vonnegut, this Vienna lager showcases the fruity nuances of coffee in a balanced malt-forward body. For the full story behind this beer, go to Wynkoop or Wynkoop.com brewery. From what I've read, they brewed this beer for a while, and then it was retired, and then they brewed it again. And basically, most of the cans have the stuff printed on the can, and this is a stick-on label. So basically what we have here is a silver can with two stick-on labels on here. So very interesting way they've done this. So they could put any beer in there and just stick any label on the side of the can. And it doesn't have a date on it, but the note he wrote was it says it's a unique lager released in late April. And according to what I've read, there are several new reviews on it, and some from back in 2007 and earlier. So I don't know if it's they've changed anything, or they just decided to start redoing it again. I've not had anything from this brewery, Wynkoop or Wynkoop, W-Y-N-K-O-O-P Brewing, and they're out of Denver, Colorado. According to Beer Advocate, it says this beer is retired, no longer brewed. So evidently they've decided to bring it back. So I don't know if it's the same recipe as before, or they've revamped it, or exactly what's going on with this. But Nate says it's a unique lager. I'm not big into the lagers, but I'm willing to try anything once. So he sent me this one, and we're going to do it. There is no commercial notes, I don't think. Let me look over here. Yeah, there is. Brewed in honor of Kurt Vonnegut. This Vienna style lager is brewed with Ethiopian Anheuser-Busch coffee from local roasters Novo Coffee. The multi-sweet copper-colored brew showcases the balance and nuance of coffee flavor in a clean, drinkable lager at 5.8% ABV and 18 IBUs. So this shouldn't be very bitter at all. It's almost, with 18 IBUs, it's liable to be a little on the sweet side. So the food pairings for this beer is cuisine is barbecue and Italian. The cheese is the earthy Camembert Fontina. The meat is pork, poultry, fish, and shellfish. The glassware is a Pilsner glass or Pokal. This is what I use for my lagers. This is my lager glass. And it's not recommended for extended cellaring. And since he says it was released in late April, and we're here about the middle of May, let's get the can open and get it into the glass. And if it's brewed with coffee, I would think it would be a darker color than what it is. But it is what it is. It's a little lighter. So we're going to give this a whirl around and see what we think of this one. Over to the light, it is a richer amber colored beer. It almost looks like an ale color. It's not that golden macro lager color. So a little bit darker, a lot of bubbles streaming up. I can see the bulb right through it. Seems to be very clear. Let's get a nose on it, see what we got. Not getting the coffee on the nose. It smells a little grassy, a little grainy, like your typical lagers and pilsners do. So basically what I'm thinking, they brewed the beer and just used the lager yeast in the beer instead of a ale yeast. Now I'm getting a lot of rich malt in there, and we might get more coffee in the taste, but there's just a slight hint of it in the nose. It's not real predominant in the nose. Well, let's see if it's predominant in the taste. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Nate. Appreciate it, sir. I mean, it is so subtle. You'd almost have to be looking for it than to be pleasantly surprised by it. I'm not getting any of the alcohol. It is not bitter. Very easy drinking, very sessionable. But I'm not getting that much coffee in this. It's not bad at all. But I was expecting a little more coffee in it than what I'm getting. It's just ever so slightly there. They could probably double that, in my opinion, to get a little bit more coffee taste. Vienna lager brewed with Novo coffee. It is so subtle, guys. Well, let's run out of the fridge, 40 degrees. Let's let it warm up a hair. I don't like my lagers very warm. Most people don't like lagers warm. They like them cold. And I'll be in that group too, guys. So back when I drank Budweisers and all my friends that drink Miller and Coors and all the rest of that macro stuff, they like this stuff pretty well cold, you know, almost with ice floating in it. Those type of beers to me taste better cold. And the only time that I would drink a beer like that usually would be coming in from working in the yard or cutting the grass, or a hot summer day, something a little crisp and refreshing and ice cold. So let's let it warm up a hair and let her taste it, and I'll come back and we'll do the final chug on this one, guys. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little bit left here. Slight coffee taste. I mean, now that it's warmed up, if you weren't looking for it, I don't even know if you'd notice it or not, but it does have a slight coffee influence to this beer. But it's nothing overwhelming. Not to have coffee written on the can like that. It's not enough coffee in it to really make a difference. If you weren't looking for it or knew that it had coffee in it, I doubt if you'd even recognize that it did have coffee in it. So let's do the final chug. Not bad. It really isn't bad for what it is, but the coffee flavor is very subdued. And like I told you earlier, lagers and pilsners are not my cup of tea anymore. I'm more into the ales with more flavor, more taste. But Nate, thanks a bunch for sending this one. Let me try it anyway. A very nice lawnmower beer, if you will. If it's a fairly inexpensive beer, it might be a good one to bring home if you're having a party or having some friends over, to get them into something with a little more taste as opposed to the macro lagers. This does have a little bit more taste, and I don't think it's brewed with any rice or corn or any kind of adjuncts or anything like that, but a decent beer for what it is. But the coffee taste is very subdued to have it written on the can, so I think they could infuse a little bit more coffee in this beer to call it a coffee beer. So that's what I think about it, guys. On this rating scale on this one, I'm going to give this one probably a 6, which is a B. And that may be a little generous. It may be a B minus beer. I was kind of on the fence between a B minus and a B. With actually no date. If I hadn't had to know from him telling me that it was released in April and knowing that it was fresh, but if I was the average Joe walking into the beer store and picking one of these up, or even a 6-pack of these up, and looking for a date and not finding it, I would probably set it back up on the shelf. If they're going to brew these kind of beers, especially going to the cans, they need to put the date on the can. This is a low ABV lager, and it's not going to have a long shelf life. So, other than Nate telling me that it was brewed or was released in late April, and I know it's a fresh beer, you wouldn't know that. So, that's the only reason I would notch it down a notch or two, is not having an actual date on the can. But with him giving me that information, I know it's a fresh beer, but nobody else is going to know that if they walk into the beer store and get that. I don't think there's a very big distribution on this one. He may know a little bit more and post some of that in the comments, but it's an okay beer. It didn't blow my socks and my hat off, or my socks off, or anything, so it was okay. Glad I got to try this one from Wynkoop, or Wynkoop's, however you want to pronounce that. Kurt's Mile High Malt. Decent. Slightly above average, but not into the exceptional or outstanding range. But glad I got to try it. So Nate, thanks again. Going over to Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, neither one of them have any scores, so we have nothing to compare it to other than the reviews that people have listed on there. And most of them have been in the 3s and not the 4s or 5s. So a decent beer. So we're going to leave it at that. If you've had this one, Kurt's Mile High Malt from Wynkoop or Wynkoop Brewing, give me some comments back on this. And guys, let's go take a look and see what's in the fridge tomorrow. See you then.